Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh, and in this video we shall discuss the feature news for today, that is on fertilizer pricing in the country, fertilizer subsidy and all the issues around this. There are multiple issues which keep on cropping around fertilizer pricing in the country. So sometimes there is a news on the ban on import of a certain kind of fertilizers, DAP. Sometimes there is a news that India will have a huge subsidy burden in fertilizer industry. So we will understand all of this in totality, the leakages and pilferages in fertilizer sector, and what is the way out as well. All right. What is in news is that for the last 2 years, there has been an immense rise in the fertilizer prices around the country. This is because of several factors. This price rise is not only in a particular segment, for example, urea or nitrogen based fertilizer, but for all fertilizers, including potassium, phosphorus, and we have sulfur, etc. The prices have risen as much as 3 to 4 to 5 times, and this is an area of concern because Indian farmer uses fertilizer for as an input to agriculture. So government says that we have got decent amount of fertilizer, there's no requirement for anybody to hoard, and we also have got good opening stock. That means amount available from the last year, we will be importing a decent amount, we will also be domestically creating or manufacturing fertilizer. So the amount that is required, that is lesser than what we totally will have in this season, the kharif season. This is what government says, but still the fertilizer prices are rising because of Ukraine and Russia crisis, because of lesser imports from countries like China previously, because of the supply chain mismatch, because of multiple issues, right? And over this is the subsidy burden. See, the government had given the subsidy of 1.6 lakh crore rupees on fertilizer in the last year, and it said we will decrease this down. We will decrease because we will have better targeted fertilizer pricing and scheme. So 1.1 lakh is what it had envisaged, thought for this year. But the reality is this, that we might touch a subsidy burden of 2.5 lakh crore, an upsurge of almost 45%, 55%. This is what is being said in the sources. So envisaging a lesser fertilizer subsidy and actually having far more than that, this is a huge area of concern. And I feel that there could be a question in pre-exam or main exam. Pre-exam did have a question last year as well. So fertilizer pricing, fertilizer prices, especially for the deregulated fertilizers, is decided by the Union Cabinet. Union Cabinet decides on the prices of how much subsidy should be given for nutrient based subsidy, whereas the interministerial committee, IMC, which is headed by fertilizer secretary, also has members from Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Agriculture, Niti Ayog. These people decide on what is the recommendation of the subsidy. So they recommend to Union Cabinet and they finally decide what is the price of nutrient based subsidy. This was also in news that there was a request from the fertilizer industry and the body and the and agriculture consortium that fertilizer prices for this year should be considered on the basis of March 2022 prices. See, but fertilizer prices are fixed only once in the whole year, financial year, and once they are fixed, they are there for the whole year. So basis on March pricing. Why? Because the March pricing were the highest in the country. All right. So this is one of the issues that is in news. Now there are two kinds of fertilizers. One is urea, which has got sufficient amount of nitrogen, and the other one was are nutrient based. Now nutrient based are the different kind of fertilizers on the depending on the kind of nutrient used. So different proportion of nitrogen, phosphate and potassium, along with sulfur and other entities. If different entities are used, they will be creating different kind of fertilizers basis of nutrient. They'll be called as muriate of potash, MOP, diammonium phosphate, SSP, etc. All these kinds are there, and one can import or manufacture them in the country, and farmer will get subsidy on urea and subsidy on these items both. Now the subsidy regimen of both of them are different. While in urea the case is something like this, that the farmer gets to pay only a flat amount. Suppose it is 6,000 rupees uh, for 1 ton, 6,000 rupees for 1 ton. This is what the farmer pays. Now whatever is the amount in the international market or whatever we are importing, government will give the whole amount to the industry. If they are manufacturing this and the price is 20,000 rupees, government will pay the rest of 14,000. If the price is 24,000, government will actually pay the rest of the amount, 18,000 rupees, to the industry, right? On the other hand, in nutrient based subsidy, government does not give this kind of flat this kind of subsidy. It gives a flat subsidy. For example, 10,000 rupees for MOP per ton, 15,000 rupees, this is an example but approximate figures only, 15,000 rupees of subsidy for DAP per ton. So if you are creating, if you have efficiency in production, then you will have profits. If you do not have efficiency for that industry or that product, then the profits will be less. All right. So the rest of the amount will have to be paid by the industry and borne by who? By the end user, the farmer eventually. All right. So this is the issue here. Now, government, it is also in news, today's news, that India will not import DAP if the prices are above $290 per ton. So the point here is that India says that we will not import if the prices above. That is why the global prices of DAP and fertilizers have come down. Imagine this. Just a declaration will make this impact. So India has got a pact with Jordan. Our Minister of Chemicals Fertilizers is also going abroad to various countries like Morocco, Oman, etc., importing from China, Saudi, Russia, South America, so that the fertilizer crisis should gets decreased. Right? See, countries ration fertilizer giving to the farmers, and India is having no ration policy. In fact, we are the largest importer of fertilizers. So let us understand what is the issue behind this fertilizer crisis. See, firstly, to declare to all of you that fertilizer prices have definitely risen since COVID times initiated. But then this is only half the graph. The prices almost rose double from the prices in March, April 2021 to March, April 2022. They rose almost double. And this fact is very clear. Urea prices 145%, DAP 66%, MOP 116, sulfur 102. Imagine this. That is only what I wanted to explain. And the recommendation is that fix the price on the basis of March. All right. So not only fertilizer, we also have burden on the PDS system. 1 lakh crore, 2 lakh crore on that, 2.5 lakh crore. Plus, we were only counting around 70,000-80,000 fertilizer subsidy, and now it is going to exceed to 2.5 lakh. Imagine we have thought of spending 40 lakh crore now, out of which the loan amount is 15 lakh crore. Imagine what we are doing to fertilizer inputs, and we'll have to provide more fertilizer in case the rains are good, because the agriculturalists, they tend to plant more crops in that case. And look at the fertilizer price index. It rose two times, once in 2009, around 9, when there was a crisis around the world, and right now index has risen so much, the prices have risen so much dramatically around the whole year. Now, understanding what is the kind of issue here, see, there are three stakeholders. One is the government, one is the fertilizer industry or the importer. All right, manufacturer or importer, and one is the person, fertilizer farmer. Now, farmer is the ultimate consumer of this fertilizer. However, the manufacturer or the industry which is importing, they are the ones given subsidy. So urea subsidy earlier used to be given to the fertilizer industry, importing industry, right? And what would be the time they would be getting this? They would be getting immediately after the fertilizer has been loaded on the truck or docked in the ship or put on the train. And immediately they would be getting the prices. If they say they have given 100 tons of fertilizers, they have sent it, they will be given the price immediately. But and you know what was the issue here? They would be immediately diverted not to the Indian farmers but to Bangladesh, sold out in the open market, or sent to Bhutan or Nepal. So this is where the government said, okay, let's reform this policy. Let us have a direct benefit transfer. So in this, government said that we will have a system in which we will ensure that the prices are given to the companies once, not the time when the trucks are loaded, but once the point of sale machine, right? There are around 3 lakh places where these point of sale machines are there, where fertilizer is sold. When the Aadhaar based authentication or the Kisan credit card based authentication of the farmer happens, and when they take the product, then only we will pay the amount to the fertilizer company. All right, so pilferage will reduce. But another loophole here, right now there is no denial policy. That means right now the policy is such that if a farmer comes and wants to take 100 tons of fertilizer, they can do that, but in one transaction they can only take 100 bags. Right, that is the only limitation, and they can actually take n number of transactions. So this is the limitation here. See, the better part is that the supply level of pilferage has reduced. The pilferage might happen at the consumer level. Government can control this also. What government can do is government can give the fertilizer, the farmer, the input, and it can have the market rate for all the fertilizers, just like we were speaking of eliminating the minimum support price and giving everybody a universal basic income. So you can give all the farmers basis their land, how much is the acreage of land, and then the adequate amount of subsidy can be given. This can be a system which can be further reformed system, and definitely the fertilizer subsidy will reduce in this case. But right now, are we implementing this? No. Right now the system is based on a portal called as E Urvarak portal. e-urvarak portal, which gets updated every time at the point of sale machine. One knows that farmer has purchased the fertilizer. So accordingly, the company is given this kind of input subsidy. Now we've understood here two kinds of issues. One issue is that of urea, right? Urea is given special exclusion, and the other kind of nutrient based subsidy are purchased less, the prices rise here more. See, before this corona crisis came, the prices of urea had risen only 10% in the market. Why? Because urea based subsidy was very high, and everybody was using urea based subsidy, and nutrient based subsidy was low, and people would use this less. So it also led to lopsided agricultural soil profile. The soil profile would have more of nitrogen and less of potassium and phosphorus. So this is first use, lopsided use of urea. And the second is the pilferage that is happening because of the kind of techniques that we use, no denial policy, or the urvak dbt transfer, which is not having any denial policy. We do not ration fertilizer right now, right? So this is the particular issue. See, the fertilizer which is diverted can also be used for various other purposes. For example, it can be used for non-agricultural activities like animal feed, primer to the industry. For example, the boards, the wood, the primer is used, plywood, binder. So these are, it can be used as a paint, right? All these things are used. Feed manufacturers, adult trend by milk vendors. It can be used in all these ways as well. So this is how it has been diverted till now, and government has had to pay a huge subsidy burden. It can be regulated provided we start targeting the end user, that is the farmer, according to the acreage number of acres that they own, right? So this is the future reform. We have also understood the present crisis. We also must understand that India should regulate the the fertilizer usage in the country through various mechanisms. All right. So we understood a couple of important issues. We understood a lot of updates, right? For example, why the government is saying that we will not import above a certain price of DAP, and the prices now not being as hot. We have also understood why the subsidy burden in the government will be rising, the alternate use of fertilizer, urea, etc. So this is how we cover a topic like fertilizer subsidy and fertilizer pricing and import. If you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments, and shares. And if you've got some questions, put it down in the comment section. We will ensure to get back to you. Thank you for watching.